Welcome to our video about the upcoming trip to Italy. The trip duration will last 2 weeks, but may be longer for Frank and Patty. Starting with Rome, we also go to Florence, Venice, Milan, and ending in Switzerland. The journey begins on Easton's birthday, April 12, 2026, with a flight from O'Hare to Toronto, connecting to Rome, arriving the next day. Mary and Linda may fly directly into Rome from their locations. Day 2 starts with our arrival at 10:20 a.m. for Frank and Patty. Mary and Linda may arrive earlier. Collect the luggage and we'll take a taxi to the Lucia apartment Airbnb where we can drop off our luggage. We will have some time to kill before checking in at 3 p.m. If we are up to it, we could have dinner at a spot just around the corner from our Airbnb, a 3-minute walk. Day 3 is all about Roman history. The morning starts with a 9 a.m. tour of the Colosseum, Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill. The afternoon and evening are open but could be spent exploring the Pantheon, Trevi Fountain, and the Spanish Steps. This shows the path we could take from the Airbnb, notice the hotel building as our Airbnb location, to all of the main sites. Total walking time shows 1.25 hours, however, with hills involved, it's not so easy. We could start with the Spanish Steps, then on to the Trevi Fountain, followed by the Pantheon, and depending upon our energy level, visit the Piazza Navona, a market called Campo del Fiore, and the Trastevere neighborhood, or catch it the next day. On day 4, April 15th, we'll continue sightseeing those attractions missed yesterday. Plus, it may be worth visiting the Via dei Coronari, Rome's prettiest street, and exploring the artsy and trendy neighborhood of Trastevere. Dinner could be at Tonarello Scala, or another place we determine. Day 5 is our final morning in Rome, starting with a 10 a.m. tour of Vatican City and the Sistine Chapel. If there is time, we'll have lunch at Bonci Pizzarium, a highly recommended pizza place, before taking a 3:30 p.m. train to Florence, arriving at 5:17 p.m. Day 6, April 17th, is dedicated to Florence's art, architecture, and history. We have entry tickets bought for the Accademia Gallery to see David at 10 a.m., followed by the Florence Duomo at 12:45 p.m. and the Uffizi Gallery at 4 p.m. All three places are within a 15-minute walk of each other, but still count on a lot of walking overall. They say Florence is a small city and easily walkable. This map shows the path we will take from the Airbnb on the lower right. This will be a full day. Day 7 is a day trip to Cinque Terre. We'll catch a 7:34 a.m. train to La Spezia, then another connecting train to Cinque Terre. After a full day of sightseeing, we'll take the return train to Florence in the evening. We should start our journey in the town of Monterosso, as indicated with the number 1. Then take the train to Vernazza, known as the most picturesque town in Cinque Terre, number 2 on the map. And finally to the town of Manarola, one of the most photographed villages in Italy. There are 5 towns in total, but these were the 3 most recommended. Day 8, April 19th, is focused on a pre-booked wine tasting tour at 9 a.m. in the Tuscany countryside. Arrangements have been made for transportation and will include a stop for lunch at a castle. Day 9, April 20th, begins with morning sightseeing in Florence, including, if we decide, Piazzale Michelangelo. In the afternoon, we take a 2:39 p.m. train to Venice, arriving at 4:55 p.m. and checking into our Airbnb. Day 10, April 21st. The morning is open, but it is highly recommended to visit the St. Mark's Square. Tour tickets have been bought for the Doge Palace in the afternoon. The evening will be spent sightseeing. Day 11, April 22nd, features a morning boat departure for the Murano and Burano Islands tour with glassmaking and lace-making demonstrations on each island. The evening is set for more sightseeing. On day 12, April 23rd, includes morning sightseeing with a recommended visit to the La Fenice Opera House. The daytime could involve a gondola ride and a visit to the Basilica di San Marco. The evening is open for more sightseeing. There are no cars allowed in Venice. This map shows the walking route to the main attractions, as mentioned in the previous slide. Day 13, April 24th. The plan is for all of us to train to Milan. At this point, Mary and Linda will train or fly to Lyon, France, to visit Maria for a couple of days. Frank and Patty will check into their Airbnb. Later in the day, they have a 5:45 p.m. tour of the Last Supper. Dinner reservations for 2 have been made at Panagacci Milano Bistrat. Day 14, April 25th, involves a day trip to Lake Como. Frank and Patty will take a 9:20 a.m. train to Lake Como, then a ferry to Bellagio and Varenna, spending the whole day there before taking a late train back to Milan. Day 15 marks our transition to Switzerland. Mary and Linda will fly, while Frank and Patty take the train. We all meet for check-in at the Airbnb by 8 p.m. On day 16, April 27th, we will explore Lake Zurich. The morning could start with a cable car ride. In the afternoon, we could do our own walk through the Old Town and/or take a Lake Zurich boat tour, followed by more sightseeing in the evening. Day 17, April 28th, takes us to Lucerne. We will take a train to Lucerne in the morning, followed by a walking tour of the city and a visit to the famous Chapel Bridge. In the evening, we return to Lake Zurich by train. Day 18, April 29th, marks the end of our trip. Mary and Linda will be returning home, while Frank and Patty may decide to continue their journey.